always and forever to the Fightback. About 1,000 members of the UAW at Dauch Corporation, formerly American Axle, in Three Rivers, Michigan, remain on strike after contract negotiations stalled and no new talks have been scheduled as of June 2nd. Union leaders say workers are seeking higher wages, improved work-life balance, and preservation of health care benefits, while accusing the company of failing to return to the bargaining table after receiving the union's latest proposal. Local bargaining chairman Josh Jager said, quote, "They're on the clock. They're under the gun, but their finger is not on the trigger yet," reflecting frustration over the lack of progress. The dispute centers on long-standing concessions workers made during the 2008 financial crisis to keep the plant operating. According to the union, wages that once reached $29 an hour were cut dramatically and now top out at about $22 an hour after a 5-year progression period. UAW President Shawn Fain argued that employees have spent nearly 2 decades helping build company profits while seeing limited gains themselves, saying workers are determined and fed up. The union is pushing for top wages above $30 an hour and says members are prepared to remain on strike until a fair agreement is reached. The strike could have significant consequences for GM because the plant supplies axles for some of the automaker's most profitable pickup trucks. Industry sources estimate GM has roughly 2 weeks of axle inventory available to keep production running at facilities in Flint, Michigan and Wentzville, Missouri. While Dauch has described the strike as disappointing and said it remains committed to negotiating in good faith, the company has reportedly used salaried employees to maintain some production as the standoff continues.
Good evening. My name is Josh Jager. I'm the bargaining chairman at UAW Local 2093, American Axle. Over the last 2 months, our committee has been hard at work in negotiations with American Axle to finally win justice for our membership. We have seen an incredible show of unity and solidarity from our membership, who has sent a clear message to the company. It's our time. It's our time to take back what was stolen from us in 2008, when we took massive concessions to save this company. Many of us, myself included, had our wages cut from $29 an hour to $14.50 an hour overnight. We did it to save the company. We did more than save them. We made them billions of dollars. So tonight, it's about getting our fair share. We paid the price. Now it's time that we reap the benefits. Instead, we have been met with a management team that has committed unfair labor practices. They have tried to intimidate us, harass us, calling the police on us for exercising our First Amendment rights. We will not be intimidated. We will not be ignored. Just like members of the Big Three, we made major sacrifices and we're done being left behind. I want to thank our Region 1D leadership and our international union for having our back in this fight and for being here tonight.
Thank you, Brother Yeager, and thank your entire bargaining committee for working as hard and diligent that you have been. And I want to thank Pete Adams and the local union executive board, but more so I want to thank this membership. You leading this committee in a contract campaign at American Axle that has never been seen before. From day one, this committee made it clear that we were going to do things differently. We opened up bargaining with daily updates to the membership. We made it clear that May 31st was a deadline for either a deal or a strike, no extensions. We put the members' demand out there for everyone to see, and then we fought like hell to win those demands. We invited the President's Office and the Department of Bargaining Strategies to bring the full force of the International Union to these negotiations. We put the members in the driver's seat, put the pedal to the metal, and we're going to get results. Steve?
Good evening. Tonight is about one thing. It's about solidarity. For too long, our IPS plants across the country that supply our Big Three and other industries have been treated like second-class citizens. In fact, American Axle is one of them. You just heard Josh talk about in 2008 the sacrifices that they made and the promises that the company had made to them back in 2008. And I want to read you a little something of this promise. 2008, American Axle was going to close, but with a promise and a handshake and a written contract, both parties agreed to this. The parties agree that this will be applied in a manner that supports our mutual objectives to manufacture products safely at world-class quality and timing levels while enhancing the rights, dignity, empowerment of the UAW AAM Three Rivers Plant Associates. Well, American Axle didn't do that. They're not doing that today, and we're here to talk or fight. We're going to let them choose. I will tell you going forward at midnight, their product goes into two vehicles built in Flint, Michigan, the Sierra and the Silverado. Some of the most beautiful trucks, world-class quality, and everybody wants one. But you don't get these without these axles. And you don't get axles unless we get a fair, equitable contract for these members that have worked so hard to do it.
And one of the most important labor struggles in America right now isn't taking place in a factory, warehouse, or office building. It's happening behind the walls of an immigration detention center. At Delaney Hall in Newark, New Jersey, hundreds of immigrant detainees have launched a hunger strike and labor strike, protesting what they describe as unsafe conditions, inadequate medical care, poor food, and exploitative work requirements inside the facility. Reports indicate that roughly 300 detainees stopped participating in the facility's work program, where detainees can earn about $1 a day performing jobs necessary to keep the detention center running. Now, some people might hear the phrase labor strike and wonder if it applies here. After all, these aren't traditional employees, but that's exactly the point being made by labor organizations stepping forward in support. In a statement released this week, the CWA District 1 argued that what is happening inside Delaney Hall is fundamentally a labor issue. The union stated, quote, "Make no mistake, this is a labor struggle." CWA pointed out that detainees are required to cook meals, clean facilities, and perform other work that keeps the center operational while receiving as little as, again, $1 per day. The union connected the detainees' demands for better conditions, medical care, due process, and freedom from exploitation to the broader labor movement's historic fight for dignity and justice on the job. And that's a significant development. For decades, employers and politicians have often tried to divide working people by citizenship status, immigration status, race, language, or geography. The message has always been that some workers deserve rights while others don't. But labor solidarity works differently. It asks a simple question: is someone being exploited? If the answer is yes, then workers should care. That's the argument emerging from Delaney Hall. According to accounts cited by activists supporting the strike, detainees have alleged they were detained while pursuing legal immigration processes and are now being subjected to conditions they describe as physically and psychologically harmful. They also contend that many detainees are compelled to work for little or no compensation. So whether you agree with every political demand surrounding immigration policy is almost beside the point. The labor question remains. If a facility depends on people performing work for extremely low wages, while those workers have little ability to refuse, organize, or negotiate, should the labor movement pay attention? Historically, unions have answered that question with a resounding yes. From child labor to company towns, from prison labor to agricultural workers excluded from labor protections, organized labor has often been strongest when it expands the definition of who deserves dignity rather than narrowing it. And that's why this story matters beyond one detention center. Because when detainees launch a labor strike, they're making the same basic claim workers have made for generations, that the people doing the work should have a voice in the conditions under which that work is performed. The situation at Delaney Hall has already sparked protest, political controversy, and growing national attention. But perhaps the most interesting development is that labor organizations are beginning to frame the struggle not simply as an immigration issue, but again, as a worker issue. And if labor history teaches us anything, it's that when workers begin recognizing common interests across the lines that normally divide them, that's often when the conversation starts getting uncomfortable for the people who benefit from the status quo.
Go. Good job. Yeah, running fast, folks. Look, so those riot police, they said go, and then they just all sprinted out of formation.
Circle up!
They just fucking rush at everybody. Push somebody to the ground. These guys are itching to shoot, man. You can see it in their face, their eyes. Shit. I knew that was gonna come my direction. Motherfuckers. See? They were planning that shit. Is that rubber?
It feels hard.
It's rubber. That's rubber.
When I was up there taking photos a few minutes ago, I could hear them specifically saying, oh, that guy in the white hat or that guy. They were talking about specific people on this side, either protesters or press, I'm not sure.
Fuck. Those are rubber bullets. They popped somebody's tires. Somebody's bike was there. They popped the tires. Everybody's cornered.
You are press. You got the opportunity right now, and that's it, to leave. If you don't leave out here in an orderly fashion, you are coming with us. Do you understand that?
To keep this going, make sure no gear that gets damaged, because I don't trust these guys that they will damage our gear. All right, we're gonna live to see another day.
Keep moving. Keep walking. Get the fuck out of here. Go.
Going.
Keep going or you're under arrest. Keep walking or you're under arrest.
I'm going.
Watch out. Back up to the bus.
Okay, we're going.
Let's go.
Yo, move back.
Let's go. Move back. Let's go.
Move back. Everybody go. Go. Move.
Get back. Get back.
Move.
Let's go. Keep it pushing. Let's go.
All right, guys, that was a tough one for me. I did not want to leave. That was a tough one for me.
That shot of what conditions on the ground have been like there, courtesy of Status Quo News. Moving to the healthcare front, workers at the National Abortion Hotline, a project of the National Abortion Federation, went on a 24-hour unfair labor practice strike after management refused to bargain over the use of AI in the workplace. Union members say they are not seeking to ban AI outright, but want a contractual guarantee that management must negotiate with workers before implementing technology that could directly lead to layoffs. According to the union, contract talks have made progress on most issues except AI, which became the central point of contention. Workers argue that the proposal merely sought a seat at the table before AI-driven job reductions could occur. The strike highlighted growing concerns among workers and mission-driven nonprofits about the use of AI to replace human labor. In a statement, the union said, quote, "We're at a loss for why this is not an easy provision to grant given the importance and sensitivity of the work that we do," emphasizing that hotline staff provide critical, often life-saving support to people seeking abortion care. The union also accused management of refusing to discuss how AI could affect workers and the quality of services provided to callers. The dispute carries broader implications because the hotline is a major source of financial and logistical support for abortion seekers nationwide. During the one-day shutdown, callers reportedly encountered a voicemail directing them to contact clinics directly for assistance. The hotline distributed nearly $56 million in financial aid in 2024 and helped more than 110,000 people access abortion care, making disruptions particularly significant for patients and clinics that rely on its support network. Union members have filed an unfair labor practice charge, alleging that management failed to bargain in good faith under federal labor law. The strike reflects a broader labor movement concern that AI implementation is increasingly becoming a bargaining issue, with workers seeking protections against technological changes that could eliminate jobs without worker input or negotiation. And in Illinois, U.S. Representative Jesus Garcia is calling on healthcare system Endeavor Health to reinstate 2 nurses who were fired from Evanston Hospital while participating in organizing campaigns and to cease what he described as retaliation against union supporters. In a June 2nd letter to Endeavor CEO Gerald Gallagher, Garcia argued that workers must be free to organize without intimidation, writing, quote, "All workers should have the free and fair choice to join a union." He further stated that Endeavor must stop its unfair labor practices, reinstate the 2 terminated nurses from Evanston Hospital, and respect workers' right to form a union, free of intimidation, retaliation, and other forms of illegal interference. The organizing effort involves nearly 3,000 nurses at Endeavor hospitals in Evanston, Skokie, Glenbrook, and Highland Park, who are seeking representation through Teamsters Local 743. Nurses have cited pay cuts ranging from $5 to $22 per hour, staffing shortages, and concerns about patient safety as key reasons for unionizing. Garcia's letter noted that severe understaffing has contributed to a stressful work environment, while nurses argue that executive compensation has remained high despite cuts affecting frontline staff. According to union organizers, the 2 fired nurses were experienced intensive care nurses who had been distributing union information to coworkers. Nurse organizer Tricia Peretta said the dismissals were intended to discourage organizing, but instead strengthen support for the campaign. Quote, "This was a movement to reincite that fear and control, and it's really had the opposite effect," she said. "It's just made nurses even more upset and more driven." 3 charges have been reportedly filed with the NLRB alleging retaliation and interference with protected organizing activities. And of course, Endeavor Health denies retaliating against employees and says it respects nurses' federally protected right to decide whether to unionize. A company spokesperson stated that the health system reviews employment actions to ensure legal compliance and remains committed to patient care and workplace policies. The dispute is the latest flashpoint in a broader unionization drive among nurses, who argue that staffing levels, workloads, compensation have deteriorated, while hospital management maintains that it supports employees' rights and is enforcing established workplace rules. In other organizing news, more than 1,800 eligible faculty members at USC voted in a mail ballot election to determine whether non-tenured track faculty could be represented by the UAW. The union won decisively, with 1,270 votes in favor and 549 opposed, creating a bargaining unit that would represent more than 2,700 full and part-time and adjunct faculty members across most of the university. Organizers celebrated the result as a major victory, with faculty organizer Kate Levin stating, quote, "Our margin of victory was incredible, which underscores the tremendous support for our union and the urgent need to improve our working conditions." Supporters argued that faculty across different job classifications shared common concerns about workplace power, compensation, and job security. However, even before the vote count was completed, USC announced it would challenge the election results before the NLRB. University leaders argued that the proposed bargaining unit is unusually large and includes employees with significantly different roles, raising what they called unresolved legal questions about whether such a diverse group can be represented together. USC also maintained that faculty already have avenues for participation through the university's shared governance system, whatever that is meant to be. The unionization effort has been underway since late 2024 and reflects a broader trend of organizing among higher ed workers nationwide. Faculty advocates say they are seeking a stronger voice on issues such as pay, workload, benefits, job security, and administrative transparency. While the vote marks a significant milestone, the university's legal challenge means the process of certifying the union and beginning collective bargaining remains uncertain. In Minnesota, workers at Half Price Books in Apple Valley moved to unionize this week. In an announcement, UFCW Local 663 says workers have filed their intent to unionize with the NLRB and hope that the company will voluntarily recognize the union. If recognized, or failing that, formed by an election, the group would join 4 other Minnesota-based half-price books that have unionized since 2021. The employees of the Apple Valley bookstore say they are seeking higher wages, better staffing, and job protections in a contract with the company. Quote, "I'm choosing to unionize because I think that we as employees deserve to have our voices heard when it comes to our working conditions," said Kyle Riper, a bookseller with Half-Price Books. "We know our store's needs more than policymakers based in Texas." Those other Minnesota stores, St. Louis Park, Coon Rapids, St. Paul, and Roseville, were not voluntarily recognized by the company in 2021, but won their union through a vote. They ratified their first union contract in 2024. Quote, "We value our employees and are committed to providing fair and competitive compensation and benefits," said Kathy Thomas, president of Half Price Books. "While we're disappointed in their decision, we'll continue to have open, honest communication and work with our employees in good faith." A representative for the book chain did not comment on whether the company would voluntarily recognize this union. And to the airline industry and the workers who really make the planes fly. Maintenance technicians at Republic Airways have voted overwhelmingly to join the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, adding nearly 800 new members to the union and making technicians the latest Republic employee group to organize alongside the airline's pilots and flight attendants. According to union officials, 777 airline maintenance technicians participated in the organizing victory, which they say reflects growing interest in union representation across the airline industry.